What kink did you think you had until you tried it? Naughty. Getting face fricked. I can deep throat like a champ on my own, but as soon as he starts vigorously face fricking me like I always thought I'd like, it's like 3 thrusts and my gag reflex goes, no, no, no. Having hanky-panky in front of a bunch of people. My ex and I were with 2 friends at a bar and it was almost last call. I wasn't ready to call it a night and, being drunk, I jokingly threw out the idea of going to this swingers club I had heard of. My girlfriend and her friends were surprisingly into the idea. So we go to this club and I thought it would be a lot of couples. Ended up being about 60 dudes, 2 or 3 girls, my girlfriend and her friends, and myself. The club was actually pretty freaking cool. My girlfriend and I went in a private room and went at it, then went to a voyeur room that was a room with a ton of windows. Literally every person in the club watched my girlfriend and I go at it along with her friends, just sitting and watching. I thought it was weird as frick and kind of gross, but my girlfriend and her friends were really into it, and she always asked to go back. Oofda, so it turns out the kink you thought you had ended up being your partner's kink, and super not yours. That is an unfortunate thing to find out, but I suppose you said X, so at least you don't have to go back anymore. Pretty much anything I have seen in the fetish adult entertainment section. I realize that I'm actually a really vanilla guy who just enjoys watching weird poop once in a while. I had a whip fetish. I endured a whipping without a safe word and regretted it right away. Getting choked out. I'm a dude. I somehow thought that busting a nut while on the verge of passing out would lead to a military-grade nut. My girlfriend was skeptical but humored me. Long story short, getting choked out ain't it, chief. Well, at least you got to experiment with that kind of thing safely with a partner. Way better than trying with a belt, which is not remotely safe, and a good way to learn both that you don't have that kink, but also leaving everyone else thinking you loved it enough to risk your life for it. Dirty/mean talk. When I was with my ex, I wanted him to call me an S and the like. He did, and I cried. I thought I was into girls that scratched you and bit you. I mean, I'm still into girls that bite, but I was dating a girl in high school and she was big into scratching. I really should have seen the signs that she wasn't going to be gentle. She was just this cute, tiny girl. I was a half a foot taller, bigger, and tough. No way she could hurt me, right? Nope. Dead wrong. I like to think I have a pretty high pain threshold, but she enjoyed hurting me. She'd scratch me up hard when we were making out. She'd get carried away, and I didn't want to seem like a wuss, so I didn't say anything about it. My back looked like I'd been attacked by a raccoon. I always thought I'd enjoy guys being more dominant and forceful until, when I was in my teens, I was sitting in an overgrown riverbank facing forward with my boyfriend sitting behind me, his legs either side of mine. Suddenly, he decided to choke me from behind without asking, and when I freaked, his excuse was that he wanted to test if I was into that kind of thing. If that hadn't happened, I might have enjoyed it in a consensual manner, but that one experience was so terrifying I'd never even be down for trying it again. Holy crap, folks, talk about kinky stuff before you just try it out of nowhere on someone. Good lord, that boyfriend sounds like a real grade A dip crap. Pegging. I thought I was super into it, and my ex loved when I played with his butt anyway, just grabbing it, nothing inside, so he bought me a strap-on. Well, I wanted to warm him up first so I didn't tear his butt apart, but the second I spread his cheeks, I got a whiff of his butt and almost vomited all over him. Oh my god. Guys, here's a message some of you desperately need to hear. Wash your butts. Not just a buff on the cheeks. When you shower, you need to be rubbing some soap on your little button. Not even just for doing stuff like this, but because you effing stink. Shower intercourse. I slipped and made us both fall. The water washes out the lubricant fluids, too. Isn't that nice? A lot of these horror stories could be avoided with a little bit of enema and a hanky-panky towel. Don't underestimate the power of a hanky-panky towel. Swinging/cucking. Trying to give some guy's wife the dipstick while he watches in the corner, feeding the geese, is a lot more stress-inducing than pleasurable. F here, riding my M partner like a real champ. Felt amazing. I was feeling a little extra hot and told him to slap me across the face. He did, and I instantly burst into tears. Having someone grind me. My pee-pee doesn't bend that many angles comfortably. Standing carry type intercourse. I could do it and I'm in pretty good shape, but I wouldn't exactly say it was enjoyable for either of us. I still want to try Amazon, but I think I'd rather just have cowgirl. I'd like to thank Urban Dictionary for helping understand 80% of these posts. Being tied up. I like it when my partner is tied, but I can't be. Just not as much as a turn-on as I thought it would be. For some reason, a foot job always seemed hot, but in all my experiences, none of them were good, and the risk of being accidentally kicked in the balls stressed me out. Thought I had a foot fetish until I actually tried playing with my girlfriend's feet. Turns out I just like how pretty feet look, from a distance. Burning. I had an ex who was really into burning with candle wax. Not the massage candles, legit candle wax. Made a huge mess and burned a lot. I was fine with this and even had a lot of fun. The problem is, she was a sadomasochist who loved causing pain. I am okay with this, but it led to one time where she poured candle wax all over me while I was tied up. I have chest hair. This was all well and good at the time, and I didn't even mind that my hair would have to be ripped out later. In her excitement, she also decided it would be appropriate to put a freshly snuffed match against my frenulum. I would avoid this, and I do not recommend it. Since then, I am not enticed or aroused by candle wax anymore. Okay, since I'm sure some of you are wondering what a frenulum is, it's that part of skin where the head of the penis meets the foreskin. You know, the place you don't want the frigging hot embers of a match touching? I'd love to see the opposite quote. What kink did you think you hadn't until you tried it? One time years ago, I was having hanky-panky with a friend, and he was close to finishing and asked if he could call me mummy. The guy was full inside me. I wasn't going to say no, even though I wasn't into it, so I played along to help get the job done. In the 5 years since then, it has been this nagging thought in the back of my head that I want someone to call me mummy. I'm so embarrassed by it that I never brought it, even though we do plenty of new kinky poop and would be totally okay to ask. Earlier this year, I finally told my partner and went immediately bright red. He was into it and played along with enthusiasm, and I gotta tell you, I am still not into it. I think it just got stuck in my head because it was so naughty and taboo, but in real life, it's just not hot. Since then, I've shoved the cat back into the bag and we've sworn never to discuss it again. I still have that little voice in my head saying to be a good boy and special goo in mummy's pee, but now I just ignore it. Mummy, may I please make cummies, mummy? Ice cream. She got me nice and hard and then laid out scoops of ice cream around my tower of power. But that frozen dessert shrunk my balls, froze my C, and then started melting down my butt crack. And pretty soon my butt was sticky. She tried her best to lick everything up, but that didn't make things any better. Worse was that it went on the bed sheets and we had to clean everything up, which took up all our day. No one got to special goo that day. BDSM type play. I like the idea of being called names like S or B until my husband called me that consensually, and I cried. Hell, I'm here looking for new ideas. P. Found a dude who was into it, and I spent years fantasizing about it. Spent about a month fricking around with him and involving P in various ways. Turns out, it's just messy. I didn't dislike it, but I have no interest in doing it again. Please like and subscribe if you've made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the video and have a wonderful day. Being slapped and called names and choked. I guess rough intercourse? I had hanky-panky with this one guy who was super into it and he would choke way too hard and slap me across the face. Kept calling me a fricking B and that I was nothing more than a W and a dirty S. He also spat on me during. I realized then I wasn't into it at all and cut things off. With my current partner, he likes to choke me, but he doesn't apply pressure, just wraps his hands around my neck and he says things like, "You like that, my dirty S?" And if I'm in the right mood, he only does it if I give the go-ahead, I do quite enjoy it. So, not so much that you realized you don't like it, but that you're a human being with boundaries. Nothing wrong with that. I'll bite and comment. Outdoor intercourse. I absolutely loved outdoor hanky-panky in fantasy. In reality, the beach is super cold and windy. Blankets are hard to keep on. Bums walk up to you randomly even though you swear no one was around. Sand everywhere. Non-erotic walk back to car. Disgruntled going home. Hopefully not a night killer. In the woods is pleasant at first, but then the bug bites start. The cold nips your skin. Bark is rather rough and has ants. Feeling secluded yet not isolated, always wondering if someone will walk by. Splinters. Rocks that are pointy jabbing into random parts of your body trying to do positions. Wild animals around. Other than that, the kink I'd say is nipple clamps. Thought they were more erotic than the painful they turned out to be. I haven't seen open relationships posted yet, but that was a humbling experience. My ex and I decided to explore a bit and set up some profiles on POF and FetLife. I figured since we were both looking for hookup partners, we'd match and find a couple that would be compatible. Fricking nope! Like 3 minutes after our profiles went up, there was a pee-pee explosion in her email inbox. It was like watching Niagara Falls with just non-stop pee-pee pictures. I'm not gay, but some of those dudes were chiseled and cute as frick. Like, even I knew I was outclassed. I had like 2 messages and none turned into anything. We broke up shortly afterwards, compatibility being an issue. Kinda basic, but the daddy/little girl kink. I love being dominated, but Jesus Christ, it felt so degrading, not in a good way. And creepy, acting like a ditzy child who needed approval to do everything. Not to insult anybody who's into it, but yeah, realized it wasn't for me after all. Gangbang. Definitely not working out in my favor. Fricking someone who was cheating on her boyfriend. We were friends with benefits before, but then she got a boyfriend. A few weeks later, she still contacted me. Going at her place, I thought it was hot, but then all I kept thinking about was him and how he was probably in love with her and how crushed his heart would be if he knew. There's nothing naughty or phantasmagorical about that, I thought. I had a panic attack, left, cut contact with her, and now I just feel dirty. Every bit deserved, though. Edit. I realized it after the deed. I'm not good, but I learned from my mistakes. P. Even if you're cool with it during the act, the second you get off, you realize you're just covered in pee. And if you're like me, you try it again just to be sure and want to bang your head into a wall because you can never be unpeed on. Pegging and milking. It was effing exhausting. I felt like, why haven't you special goo already? I'm bored. After an hour of licking, positioning, thrusting, titillizing the taint, spanking, fingering, Crisco, blah blah blah, I felt blessed as a woman and had a new respect for the endurance people had to get me off. I don't know if it's a kink per se, because it's kind of mainstream, but threesomes just aren't as fun as I thought. The pressure to make sure everybody was having a blast kind of ruined it for me. Don't want anyone to feel left out, you know? I mean, ideally in a threesome, I would think you'll all be attending to each other, not just one person made to be the master of ceremonies. I've never been and not really interested in being in one, but from friends I've known who are into it regularly, it takes getting used to and lots of open communication. Male, female, female threesome. Turns out I'm definitely not into girls, haha. Outdoor intercourse. Got a 2-inch splinter of wood shoved right up my butt. Cheek, that is. I was super into jerking off while wearing a skirt, and when my girlfriend found out, she was kind of into the idea of me freaking her while wearing a skirt because she was bi. Her words, not my assumption, but it didn't really work for either of us. Then again, I think we might not have been intimately compatible or just inexperienced, because I also thought I didn't like blowjobs until my next girlfriend sucked my pee-pee and it was a revelation. Blowjob with a little teeth? Noped out of that quickly. Banging a hot juggalette, rare, is not worth the sifting you have to go through to get there. Is that a common kink people have? I mean, no shame, but okay. Some water sports stuff is cool, but more often just awkward in practice. Attempting to drink urine was a big regret. Ugh. I thought I would be into choking. I already like to be lightly spanked and act like bratty sub. I think it's funny to be annoying, lol. So I just thought it would have been a natural step in my kinks. Didn't like it one bit. Nothing bad really happened, no freak accidents, just got turned off real quick. Being called daddy. First time banging this girl I met at a bar, she goes right into "frick me, daddy." I always thought it would be hot to hear, but nope, instant boner killer. My mind immediately went to, oh poop, she might have some serious issues. Turns out I was right too. Gonna be a lot of poop in this thread if this post takes off. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.